Update 2. I overheard my daughter's phone call. No, Mia, my dad still doesn't know anything. Even my mom's boyfriend sometimes picks me up from school. My heart stopped when she added, yes, they're planning to move to California once my dad pays off my college tuition. That evening, I canceled the tuition payments, transferred the assets, and left the divorce papers. Cheaters will get what's coming to them. The others thought the structure of their betrayal had been carefully built over months, perhaps years. But as an engineer, I knew better than anyone that every structure has its weak points, every system could be dismantled. It was simply a matter of identifying the critical supports and removing them in the correct order. The office chair creaked as I leaned back, eyes moving from document to document. Amanda's carefully crafted persona as the supportive wife, Salvador's image as a spiritual wellness guide, Emma's role as their unwitting accomplice, and Greg's startup as their meeting ground and money laundering operation. All the pieces were in place. Now it was time to begin the real work. Through my office window, I watched the sunrise over the city. The Harrison Bridge project had taught me an important lesson. Sometimes, to save a structure, you had to let parts of it fall. The weak points, the compromised sections, all had to go before you could rebuild something stronger. I picked up my phone and dialed Catherine Parsons, the city's most ruthless divorce attorney. Miss Parsons, Derek Newton. I need your help with a rather complex dismantling project. The pieces were set, the calculations made. Now it was time to show my family the true price of betrayal. The scene unfolded like a well-rehearsed play at the Carlsons' dinner party that weekend. Amanda wore her favorite blue dress, the one Salvador had complimented during their first private yoga session. She worked the room with practiced charm, occasionally touching my arm for show, all while exchanging knowing glances with our host, Linda Carlson. Derek, the Harrison Bridge project is fascinating, Tom Wilder said, swirling his whiskey. Must be keeping you busy at all hours. Very busy, Amanda interjected with a laugh that didn't quite reach her eyes. Some weeks I hardly see him at all. Across the room, Salvador, standing in designer jeans and a tight-fitting Henley, smirked at this comment. The yoga instructor was playing his role perfectly, the spiritual guide offering private sessions to select clients while building his network among the neighborhood's wealthy wives. Dad, can I take the car tomorrow? Emma appeared at my elbow, her expression carefully neutral. I have a study group meeting. Of course, Princess. My voice betrayed nothing of what I knew about these study groups, how they coincided perfectly with Amanda and Salvador's meetings, how my daughter served as their lookout and alibi. Later that night, I sat in my home office, reviewing the latest reports from Rule Levy. The investigator had been thorough, documenting every meeting, every transaction, every little betrayal. The photo showed a clear pattern: Amanda arriving at Greg's startup offices, Salvador following shortly after, Emma's car parked nearby, keeping watch while sending texts about study sessions and client meetings. The financial trail was equally damning. Amanda had diverted over $500,000 from our joint accounts, routing it through various shells and fronts. Some went to Salvador's California property purchases, some to Greg's startup, and some to buy the silence and cooperation of our neighbors. My phone buzzed, a text from Catherine Parsons, documents ready. Moving forward on your signal. I looked at the family photo on my desk, Amanda, Emma, and me at Emma's high school graduation. All smiles, all perfect, all fake. The glass in the frame reflected my own image, a successful man who had dedicated his life to building things, only to discover his family had been systematically dismantling everything he'd created. The migraine was back, pulsing behind my eyes, but I welcomed the pain. It helped me focus, helped me remember why I needed to stay sharp. In engineering, precision was everything. One miscalculation, one moment of emotional weakness, and the entire project could collapse. Through the house's excellent acoustics, another of Amanda's design choices, I could hear her on the phone in our bedroom, her voice low but clear. No, Salvador, he doesn't suspect a thing. Yes, once Emma's last tuition payment clears. I know, baby. I can't wait to start our new life. He's so wrapped up in his precious bridges, he wouldn't notice if I danced naked in his office. I allowed myself a small smile. In engineering, every stress test revealed new weaknesses, every failure pointed the way to a stronger design. My family had taught me the ultimate lesson in structural integrity: sometimes the most devastating forces came from within. I turned back to my computer and began to type. The dismantling would begin soon, and like every project I'd ever managed, this one would be executed with absolute precision. After all, I hadn't earned my reputation by leaving jobs half-finished. The first light of dawn was breaking over the horizon as I finished my preparations. In a few hours, Amanda would wake up and go about her day, confident in the perfection of her plan. Emma would head to her study group, believing her role as lookout was still a secret. Greg would open his startup's offices, unaware that his money laundering operation was about to implode. And I would do what I did best: systematically, methodically, ruthlessly solve the problem in front of me. Because that's what engineers did. They identified structural weaknesses and then they eliminated them. The sun rose fully over the city, its light catching the glass and steel of the buildings I had helped design and save. It was going to be a perfect day for demolition. Rule Levy sat across from me in a private meeting room at the Harrison Bridge project site, spreading photographs and financial documents across the table. The private investigator's reputation for discretion had made him the perfect choice for this delicate operation. Let's start with the money trail, Levy said, pulling out a complex flowchart. Your wife's been systematic. Every withdrawal marked as home renovation, research, or college expenses has been rerouted through a series of shell companies. I studied the diagram. Show me Salvador's involvement. KNX established the first shell company 2 weeks after meeting your wife. Levy placed 3 more files on the table. He's done this before: Arizona, Nevada, and Oregon. Different names, same pattern. He positions himself as a spiritual guide and then gradually takes control of their finances. The other victims, 3 wealthy women, all married. Levy's expression hardened slightly. 2 lost everything in divorce, the third. He paused. Committed suicide when she discovered the extent of his manipulation. Knox walked away clean each time. My fingers traced the financial flow on the diagram. The California property? Beachfront estate in Malibu, purchased through Knox Enterprises last month. Levy pulled up satellite images on his tablet. $6 million property. The down payment came directly from your joint account, laundered through your brother's startup. Speaking of my brother, Greg's startup is the perfect front. Levy produced more documents. They're creating fake consulting contracts. Your wife transfers money to shell companies, which then invest in the startup. The startup pays Knox Enterprises for strategic planning, which funds the California property and their other expenses. I nodded, my engineer's mind cataloging each piece of evidence. And the neighborhood involvement? The Carlsons received $40,000, marked as a personal loan. The Vilders, $35,000. Levy showed bank statements. Both couples have their own secrets. Linda Carlson's having an affair with her tennis instructor. Tom Wilder has gambling debts. Your wife and Knox leveraged this information to build their network of allies. And Emma? Levy hesitated before pulling out another file. Your daughter's role is more significant than we initially thought. She's not just providing alibis or acting as lookout. She's been helping KNX move money, delivering documents between accounts. She thinks she's just running errands for her mother, but she's actually been participating in money laundering. Now you can watch the second part by pressing share and more.